Hello, Scrabble here, back with more Bubba Is You on the Nintendo Switch. Last time we finished all but two levels inside Solitary Island. I find it weird that this one doesn't count. Maybe it's because of 0, but you'll see that it's still lit up while all the other ones are not. Okay, so we're left with extra 5, which is dungeon, and 12, evaporating river. Now I'm wondering, before we get started here, if this is going to end up like the other ones I've done, where it turns out that these are much easier for me at the beginning than they were at the end of the episode, right? Like, I'm starting out fresh. Is my fresh mind better than my tired mind? Almost certainly, but let's find out for sure as we go into dungeon. Now, I gotta say, Unforgiven did give me a little bit of a hint on this one, where he said, hey, why aren't you doing what you did in prison? And I said, you know, what I did in prison is that in prison, I was really in a position where my characters were slightly different, right? I was able to push Kiki before I switched into being Kiki. So now I see that I can do this. My problem is, oh wait, I don't think this is a problem because I'm controlling both. I should just be able to push it up. Yeah. Can I push these two onto the same square? I can't. I don't have a stop. That's fine. We'll get this here. Bubba is win. So just do the same thing. I said I can't push Kiki, and then I said, wait a second. What if I'm just both of them? If I'm just both of them, that'll probably work. But I do credit that hint with getting me there. Okay. Evaporating river I received no hints on. This is truly the test of my non-tired mind. So, first of all, the name of the level is Evaporating River. We know water is sink. That's kind of like an evaporation, right? Because water is hot. Cog is melt. I mean, this whole thing is kind of evaporaty, right? And now that we don't sink, we know that's not really evaporaty either. We would need the cog is sink on that to, not melting, but sinking in order for the water to evaporate. Okay, so we want the water. Oh, interesting. Like, if we could have the water is hot and the water is melt, I wonder if it would all just go away, but I don't see that that is actually possible to do. But in theory, that would work, right? Water is hot and water is melt. There's just no way for me to get in there. Right? Bubba is you. There's no way for me to change Bubba is you. Like I said before, if we had a chain of 4 here, we could push something. But I just don't have a chain of 4. You have water is wall, but wall is only stop. So water is wall is definitely not what we need. We don't have an and, so we can't do Bubba is you and we can't do wall is stop and. We can't be 2 different things, so it is not possible to get inside something and move it. Right? We can't change Skull is defeat as much as we would like to. Changing Skull is defeat would let us just push to flag is win. We can't push. I mean, we could do flag is sink, right? But we can't do flag is push. We could do flag is water. We could do cog is water, but neither of those get us where we want to go. Right? Flag is sink doesn't get me anywhere. Flag is water gets me nowhere. So again, we can do cog is water, and we can do cog is sink. And cog is sink allows me to push it into the water. and get rid of something. Which I noted last time I can use right here to evaporate the water and then come straight on. And while we can transform the cog into water, that doesn't give us anything, right? That just invalidates cog is push and melt. I don't know why we have a wall here. I know why the wall is down here. If there was no wall here, then we would just be able to push that up and say Bubba is win. Right now we can't do that. Can't do that. That doesn't do anything. These keywords have to be at the end of a noun. There has to be a noun. Like we could do water is defeat, water is hot. But sink, the only place that I can move sink, the only place is on wall is stop. No, sorry, is on cog is sink. I was supposed to have a fresh brain. That's not fresh. And again, we can do water is skull. Water is defeat. Water is hot. Water is stop. So the only thing, if I turn the water into skulls, I mean, it's not hot anymore. It doesn't destroy the cog. Just, I can't touch it. And actually, I can't use water is anymore because I've stuck it in the corner. Water is defeat does me no good. Water is water does me no good. Water is hot does me no good. Cog is sink is good. Cog is water is no good. Water is stop. Water is wall. Those don't seem great. Right, like that does nothing for me. It really does seem like we need to get this up in here. That's actually unfortunate. Skull is sink would work. Right, and now if I could get the cog over there, we'd be good. Sort of. We'd be sort of good. But how do I get the cog over? If the water isn't hot, the cog goes over. But the water is hot. I mean, if I turn it into not water... If I turn it into not water, that kind of takes care of it, but I don't see how I could turn it into not water. The only thing we can push is the cog. It's the only place the push keyword is. Well, cog and text. And we have, in fact, the only text lined up there already. So how do we get the cog across the water? And, like, I really need it. They go up. To be in there somehow. Well, that doesn't even help me. It just lets me move Skull's Defeat if I could actually get in there. Or if I get down here, the water is hot. I just need to get the cog on the other side of the water. How do I get the cog on the other side of the water? Water, cog is melt, water is hot. Huh. If we do water is hot, both things are there. But that doesn't work because we have the box and then a noun. It would have to be noun. So noun box would work. But I don't think two boxes works. Two boxes does not work. Again, I mean, we kind of water is stop, right? And it's like, no, you can't even go past it. The only place I can do two nouns is water is hot. Oh man, I'm gonna use up all of my half hour on this. Water is defeat does me no good. Water is skull, we've tried, doesn't really do me any good. Right? I don't think water is defeat does me any good. Right. No, we still have hot and melt together. From this silly evaporating water. Oh, sorry, I just punched my mic. Then I touched my mic to get it stable. Right, skull is push would work. But I can't actually connect skull and push. Like, push is water doesn't work. Pretty sure push is sink doesn't work. So that's really the question I have, right? How do we get this to line up? With skull is defeat. We do need something on top of flag is, like, we need something on top of his win. That's the only possible way that we could do this. And it really looks like the only option for that, because of the positioning, is flag is win. And the only way to get flag over is to have something push it, which I can't. Cannot push the flag. We can push the cog. I'm pretty positive this tells me nothing. Yep, no good there. No good. Is it possible to cool down the water? Make a bridge? No, that bridge just pushes water out of the way. Interestingly, I mean, that does line it up. But unfortunately, the cog still sinks, right? Because we can do this. It does push it, but not enough. There's nothing I can do to correct that. Oh my gosh, the whole episode I'm going to spend on this problem. I mean, just looking at it, right? Just look at the problem. I'm pulling out a pen here. I have paper, I'm pulling out a pen. Okay, so what are things that I can actually work with, right? I have water, I have is, and I have sink. I have no and that I can work with. None of these is's are really in any place that I can work with. Water is possible. I mean, water is hot, again, is possible. But I really don't think defining it twice helps anything. No, making things doubly hot doesn't automatically evaporate it. I have no way to push flag sideways with Skull is defeat where it is. Oh. Yeah, and this I cannot push into anything. That just gets rid of it, but I really need the cog to be safe. we can make Cog is sink, which is interesting, and I don't think solves the problem. Right, what happens when Cog is sink? I'm sure I've done this already, and I think it just evaporates when it hits the water. Yeah, Cog is sink when it hits the water, causes the water to be removed. I wonder if that's only water, though. Right, if I have Cog is sink, can I push it into text? It looks like no. I should be able to push it into the flag. I can push it into... I can't push it into the wall because the wall is stop. It will not allow me to push it. My thought was maybe I could push it into a skull. I mean, if I could push it into a skull, that would solve my problem. I just don't actually see how I could push it into the skull. Whoa. Not what I wanted. Drop my remote there. So we have Cog is melt. Water is hot. If wall wasn't stopped, then water as wall would be fine. And water as skull would work if we could actually move the water is. Say with water as wall, we can't actually move it. I can turn the cog and the flag into water, but I don't think that actually helps me out any. Transforming the wall into water would help. But we don't have a reverse like that. Okay, so things I can do are cog is water and flag is water. I'm writing these things down. Cog is water and flag is water. Don't really have any good benefits. Except, like, I think I can move that on top of each other. Then if I do this, that does nothing. Like, it really does nothing. I can't believe this. This episode is going to be me solving a single stage. And then getting stuck on this. Right, water is defeat is a thing. And water is the thing. Writing down and crossing them out. Water is wall, thanks to the stop. Doesn't work. And I don't think flag is sink works. Especially since I can't remove these predicates. Like, once they're buckled in here, they're buckled in. Yeah, flag is sink does me absolutely no good. I really wish I had something that wasn't Skull is Defeat, right? There's got to be a way to take care of that. I'm looking, I just don't see it. I wonder if stop is water does anything. I don't think it does. That does nothing. And that does nothing. So those things next to each other don't do anything. Man, text is move would be good. I'm still questioning whether it's the wall. But I have no and water is stop does me no good. Turning other things into water removes their possibilities. So if we turn water into the skulls aren't hot, and the cog won't melt when it touches it. Of course, I end up in a position with a much, much longer thing to deal with. So now we have water. It won't melt, but it doesn't really do me any good. Yeah, that's no good. But now we have a little thing, which doesn't do me anything. Because water isn't push. No, water isn't push. I mean, we could turn the flag into water. But that doesn't really do me anything, right? It really doesn't. Alright, well that's our half hour. I'm gonna stop there. Still stuck. Next time, do I spend a whole episode on this? I'm not sold that I do a whole episode on this. I did not really have any breakthroughs here. Just, you got to see me floundering around trying to figure out how to make a chain of 4 to actually push this thing. And the problem is that the water is hot and the cog melts. And there's no way that I can see to transform turning water into something else. If we had skull as push, we'd be okay, but we don't actually have any way to transform the skull. We have no way to remove the melt, no way to remove the hot, which is really weird because we have that piece of wall in the top, and I just... Oh, I guess that wall is there so that I don't turn the cog into water. Right, because turning the cogs... Or sorry, yeah, turning the water into cogs would be a problem. And that's what we could do if that wasn't there. Now, if the other one wasn't there, we could just push it up. So yeah, this one is really difficult, and I can see you hitting the dislike button on it just because of how long I'm spending on it. I spent a lot of time last episode too, with absolutely no progress. But water is defeat doesn't really do anything. Water is hot's already a thing. Water is water does nothing. Water is sink just makes it sink. Also doesn't really do anything, but does make it disappear, which is maybe what we want. Wall is stop, doesn't really help me out. Bubba is you, I mean obviously that's required. All of this is required for our first step, I think. And now my brain's dying. Alright, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to see more Bubba is Switch on the Nintendo Switch, including me finally beating this level, feel free to subscribe. You can share the video, you can comment on the video. If you do comment, let me know what you thought of this level. How long did it take you to get past it? It's completely possible that I have just overlooked the obvious solution. And I would like to hear that too, not what the solution is, but that I've overlooked the obvious solution. It points me in a direction and kind of takes care of the super convoluted one. This definitely seems like the hardest level I've hit so far. Alright. Thanks for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time.